Hello and welcome to a new episode of Spooky Reviews from Spooky Ventures. This is our 164th episode. I'm Gary Hill and I'm both your host and reviewer. This time around I'm going to be talking about a new Blu-ray release of a documentary called Dinner with Leatherface. The focus of the film is actor Gunnar Hansen, who played Leatherface in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Now, to call him an actor is sort of an incomplete label. Then again, labeling any of us as one thing that we've done is probably woefully incomplete too. This documentary is told almost exclusively via interview clips with the people who knew and worked with Hansen, and that list includes such names as Bruce Campbell, Linnea Quigley, Barbara Crampton, and many, many more. The stories told all paint a picture of a man who was imposing in size, but who they nearly universally called a gentle giant. He was terrifying in the role of Leatherface, and he also seemed at other points in his career to be capable of being highly convincing as a villain in other roles too, although he didn't just play villains. Yet, on a personal basis, he was said to be a very nice man who genuinely engaged with friends and family. He loved classical music, nature, and boats and ships. He was a poet and published author of historical books. He was also said to be a loyal friend who was always supportive and helpful. I have to say that going into this, I didn't really know a lot about him. After watching this, I'm sad that I never got to meet him. It seems like it would have been a very gratifying experience. Hansen never really intended to be an actor. In a vintage interview clip in the film, he says that he basically took the gig as a summer job during college. Even after the movie exploded at the box office, he really wasn't all that interested in acting, instead focusing on academia. Yet somehow he eventually got pulled in. As one of his friends said of him, he was a why not guy. A lot of people, this person said, when asked to do something will respond with why. For Hansen it was usually why not, so he got pulled back into acting, often taking roles for little to no pay as a way of helping aspiring new directors and producers. Those things made him a fierce supporter and participant in the indie horror scene. That's something that is near and dear to my dark heart, so I really appreciate that about him. As someone said in one of the interviews, the indie horror scene is not that big, and I know people who worked with him and knew him well. That makes me feel closer to him and to this documentary. He also became a regular on the horror convention circuit. He loved that because it allowed him to meet and connect with fans on a different level. It also helped him establish friendships among the other talent at the cons. This documentary is described as a love letter to Hansen. It really does feel like that. Unlike a lot of things I review here, this is very much a feel-good type of movie. The Blu-ray includes a number of bonus features. The ones that I found the best were some expanded interviews from some of the participants. Those allowed me to learn even more about Hansen that didn't fit into the main documentary. All in all, I highly recommend this. It seems to be a great story about a guy who was pretty darn interesting. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.